Hello friends, this is your full moon in Capricorn video. So, the moon rules Cancer, right? It rules the opposite sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn is stability. It is the foundation of things, right? It is a stable, it could be an actual physical foundation, and it could be a physical building, or it could be something long term, something that's been developed, something that has been stabilized over somewhere between 27 to 30 years, right? That's the Saturn cycle. Now, the moon cycle is much faster, and it operates very differently. Capricorn doesn't move, right? Motion is what, is where Capricorn evolves, right? But it doesn't break down. I mean, it can, but if it doesn't move enough, and that's what Aquarius is, which is where Pluto is in retrograde. And as the full moon comes in, the moon comes closer in proximity to Pluto. But in all actuality, in the astronomical sense, when the moon is astrologically, right? So Pluto is here, and then the moon comes, that's the way we see it in the astrology, right? They're together, or they come together. But really, it's Pluto and then the moon moving in front of it, right? From our perspective. So in order to get to that other energy, you have to go through your emotions. You have to go through the moon. You have to, let those, and I say this a lot, let the emotions soak, let them come through, let them be a reflection, realize the reflection, know that it is the reflected energy off of what you're creating, right? And the nature of the creation, right? The sun, okay? So what's radiating out from that creation is what's going to show up in the moon, in your emotions, in your emotional state, in your home in general, in your family. So we have to go through that so that we can eventually transform. The moon in Capricorn is in humanity's 12th house in the subconscious, right? The moon itself is a subconscious process, and in order to to see that, you have to understand how the general astrology works. Cancer, the sign before that, right, is Gemini, which is communication. Any one sign previous is the thing that is put behind or needs to be let go of, or a thing that is, you know, diminished, or the thing that destroys, right, the thing that destroys it. Well, if Cancer is too emotional, if it's too erratic, then what destroys that is thought, logic. But that's also what can destroy taking care of things, right? If you think too much, then you're not caretaking, then you are not nurturing, right? You can't think and nurture. You just do it. You know what the information is, you know where your parallels are, you know what, the individual decisions that need to be made, and then you just do them, right? You don't think about the individual process, which is why when you're trying to solve a problem, you can't think about it unless you're trying to, balance your checkbook. But that's not what this full moon is about. It is not about balancing your checkbook, not even close. It is, I guess, more along the lines of balancing your emotional checkbook. Like where do you need to be balanced? What have you been working on for a long time? There are, powerful and transformational things happening, in addition to Mercury, which is at the end of Taurus, at the end of Leo, and he is retrograde. He will go retrograde in Virgo, move back into Leo. And it is square to Uranus, which is at the end of Taurus. Now, Taurus wants to be stable and steady. Well, Uranus in Taurus has not been stable and steady. It's been all over the place. It's been very erratic. It's been very difficult for humanity because we need that Taurus stability at home. That's where, humanity is. It needs that stability. It needs those value systems, right? And with Uranus, he has very high or very low systems, and you need to realize where's the middle, right? Values in with Uranus and Taurus are very erratic. So staying in the middle and having a slower vibe is definitely how to operate this. Now, Mercury in Leo, the sun rules Leo. The sun is in Cancer. It is in opposition to the moon, right? So what we've been creating in Cancer, right, through Venus, through our value systems, and through Mercury, right, communication, what we've been creating in Cancer is not what has been coming out in stability, right? We've been trying to pour it into our stability, but we have to go into the emotion. You can't cut it off. You can't separate it. That's the moon of Capricorn. It's There's no way to separate that. And Capricorns are typically known for their relationships and how well do they take care of them, right? Are they hard? Are they tough? On the outside, they may look hard and tough, but on the inside, they're very squishy and nurturing, and they take care of those things. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are thinking about going back to previous times, or they're scared to go back to previous roles and previous times in human history because things looked so harsh and stark on the outside, but they were not. Those things were very squishy and soft on the inside, right? You might see a building and it might look very hard and very tough, but on the inside, what is it doing? It's taking care of stuff. There are things happening. There are people in it. There's stuff moving around. It's not just something hard. It's not just something stark. It's not just something cold. There are things happening and everything is going on inside of it, right? There's tons of things going on inside, just like a little crab, right? If you're too hard on the outside, you can't move. And if you're not moving on the inside, you can't go anywhere. And they are, things are always moving. Don't ever think that anybody that doesn't look like they don't have emotions, they do. They're typically very emotional, but they're thinking about them. They have these very hard, emotional thought processes. They have these very strict beliefs about things, and we're moving past that, right? The moon isn't in Sagittarius. We already did that several days ago. Now the moon is in Capricorn, and that's what we need to focus on. We need to look at how, what we are radiating from the sun and what is being reflected in the moon. We need to look at that and realize that our creation is being reflected. You can't have a direct, you can't see, the sun can't see itself, right? You can see another star. You can't see what you're creating until you step back from it, right? Until you get that perspective, that depth. And that's what the signs do. They give you depth. It doesn't matter where they are, whether it's Cancer Capricorn, or it's Aries, Aries Libra, or Taurus Scorpio. It doesn't matter. You need that space, that separation, so that you can see what's going on. And that's what we're doing. We've been creating that separation. We've been creating that space. And we need to be creating that space for ourselves. And once you create that space for yourself, then you may find that other people that have created a similar space, they might end up in your space. You might end up in their space. If it's, those vibes that are similar. I saw something yesterday. Human beings are so similar in their DNA that you might actually be more related genetically, right, as far as the mathematics are concerned, to your friends than people that you are actually descended from. It's there's a different harmonic there. Or as you get older, you do change. You do tend to lean in one direction or another, and that takes emotional depth, right? That's Cancer again, and it's setting up those stable structures that allow us to find our middle road, find our vibe in Aquarius. But you have to go through the moon to get to Pluto, right? So, in astrology, you see one planet and you see the moon coming up to it. Oh, they're conjunct, they're together. Well, yes and no, because here's Pluto, and what the moon is doing in the astronomy is moving in front of it. So in order to get to that transformation, you have to go through the moon. You have to go through the emotions. You have to go through them, process them, and then go, okay, I'm done with that. Now I can transform. And Pluto's going to move back into Capricorn. So we're going to come back to this energy. This is a precursor for the beginning of September when Pluto goes back into that. So this is another one of those marks. It's like, where is your emotional state? Where are you emotionally balanced? Are you seeking emotional balance? Are you creating emotional balance? Are you creating a new framework for yourself based on safety and caretaking and nurturing? And it doesn't matter what you're taking care of, what you're keeping safe, what you're nurturing. Are you doing it for yourself? because you should have to, right? A mother that has a child, whether it's a beast or a human, it doesn't matter, has to take care of themselves first, right? They have to nurture themselves. They have to eat. They have to be somewhere safe. They have to they have to know their environment, and then they can create the thing, and then they can nurture their child, but not until, because if the mother's in danger, the child cannot thrive. So we have to create the safe space for us to nurture ourselves, right? And that's also the Cancer Capricorn, axis is reparenting yourself, re-nurturing yourself, finding out what you need. And once you are giving that to yourself and you're not neglecting yourself, then it starts unfolding out. Then it starts being reflected in other places. And then you can see the light from the moon and go, oh, that's pretty. Now, the sun is too hard to stare at. It's very intense, very powerful. It's a fixed energy. But the moon is softer. You can stare at the moon for hours. You can stare at the moon with a telescope without any filters on it. The sun, you got to be careful. You have to be very careful. You can feel the sun, but you can't see it. And so that's also what's going on. So those those emotional situations that we've been creating in Cancer are very intense. And we have to slow down. We have to look at the reflection. Take some time and stare at it. I've been saying take the time, take a breath, realize what you're doing, for weeks, since the moon, definitely since the moon moved into Sagittarius before it moved into Capricorn here, which was, it led us to, it gave us the wisdom to understand this. And I've been needing to do that myself. Like I'm about on the precipice of having to find a new place to live again. So there's all kinds of, what am I creating? Am I creating if I've been creating the relationships that are going to make me stable, that are going to give me a place to live? Yes, they are. Do I know what they are right now? No, I don't. So I just have to chill. All right. I'm not in danger. Nothing's happened yet. It's coming. And I had to sort that out. I'm having to really chill out and just let that happen. So, like this little beard hair here that's just bothering me. I can't even touch it right now. Yeah, that guy right there, that's bothering me. So what? Is it that important? Do I need to worry about, my whole video instead of that one little hair that's no. And now you can't stop staring at it either. That's what the crazy thing about this is. Are you paying attention to what's going on with you? Or are you paying attention to what's going on with something else? Or the thing, how important are the things close to you? How important are they? And again, that's the other message I wanted to put out here about this. You see what's going on in the wider world, right? What's being created far away from you, right? That stuff's far away. What does your world look like? What does your daily look like? Is there, chaos and terror and destruction, and then don't be there, right? Create safety and caretake and make sure things are okay. And if, after a while you realize that where you are, whether emotionally or physically, right? Whether, Cancer or Capricorn, emotionally or physically, and Saturn does, it does rule the physical universe. He's at the edges of our solar system where we can see. You can see Saturn in the sky without a telescope. You can see it. You can't see, you can't see anything beyond that without a telescope. You have to have something beyond. You need, Pisces. You need magic to bring it closer, bring anything beyond that. But so if there's, chaos and disorder and destruction in your life or in your immediate area, how long had that been building up? That didn't just happen. That's like the tower moment in the tarot. That storm just didn't suddenly show up and strike the tower and the people felt, no. The sun was out, and then the clouds came in. And then they got darker. And then the wind started coming up, and then the rain started coming up. There started to be lightning far away, and it got closer and closer and closer. And people were standing on the tower going, whoa, right? The tower didn't build itself. The people built the tower. Right? It's not just one person standing up there, it's two. So there's somebody went, hey, you gotta come up here and check this out. And they went up there, bow, and they got hit. how long did they stand up there? It didn't just, I mean, it did, but it didn't. So how long have you been standing in that tower moment? How long have you been ignoring the signs and the precursors of whatever it is you're looking at? So if where you are is cool, you're probably going to find another cool spot. If where you're not is cool, you have to make some choices. You have to make some decisions, and they need to be. You need to know what the information is, Gemini, right? And then you need to kind of let the information go, and you just go, okay, how do I feel about that? What pieces are more important to me? How can I use those things to bring me to the space where I feel good, where I feel safe, right? Versus just going, this is a better decision. And you're like, I don't like this decision. I'm going to make another decision. It's because you weren't letting it soak. You weren't letting it sit, and you weren't releasing it. So speaking of releasing, this is 16 minutes long. So I'm going to release this, but thank you guys. I appreciate anybody that's been watching and responding, and I hope this helps, and so that we all bring each other into a better, safer, little global community here with all these little safe, better little pockets here, and hope you guys have a stable time.